Keith Mady with Landmark Title. The real estate market is constantly changing, and it's important for you to stay on top of this information. With Marketing Insights, we provide you facts, figures, and statistics to stay on top of the market. Come join us now.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Market Insights for Landmark Title, April 2024. Sarah, let's begin. Our agenda today is look at some industry updates nationally and locally, numbers in Maricopa County and individual cities for the month of April. April? Let's do April. Fast facts. This is for Maricopa County, ladies and gentlemen. Our active listings, top right-hand side, 12,742 total. Single-family homes just under 10,000 at 9,496. Townhomes and condos both crested over 1,000 doors at 1,032 and 1,056. Manufactured homes at 854. That's a pretty high number for our market, and those are doing well today as well. Closed transactions 5805 for the month of March. That's certainly up almost at 850 plus doors. Our absorption rate surged a bit to 41%. Coming soon has surged a little bit higher as well at 670. Interest rates are a little bit on the rise, but they're still in that range of 6.1 to 7.3%. Average sale price did pick up 20,000 or so at 58 or 582,442. This is for Maricopa County only. Next slide, Sarah. Ladies and gentlemen, there's so much information happening. We had the NAR settlement at $418 million. That included a lot of brokerages that were under $2 billion in annual sales for the year 2022, I believe. There's information about industry changes, leadership changes, technology changes, what companies are acquiring what. There is a company out there that has a website called realestatenews.com. It's done by Stefan Swanepoel in the T360 group. The MLS leadership felt that our agents deserve to know as much about what's happening as possible and when it is happening. The realestatenews.com membership is north of $200 a month if you went out to secure that on your own. The leadership negotiated what's called an enterprise solution for all agents. So if you're reading this or listening to this and you have not taken 4 minutes to log into ARMLS and sign up for this membership, you're doing yourself a disservice. Please do so. There's a hot link below there with the subscription. This took place late December, and I just want to remind everybody, this is going to have information about NAR settlement and the fact that this settlement is only on the sales side of things. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like it's going to be the NAR settlement probably the end of the calendar year, 2024, before a judge is going to approve the settlement at $418 million. But ladies and gentlemen, please know this does not include the buy-side class action lawsuits that's still in play. By no means are we completely over from this. There's another one coming, and it may be a while before it goes to trial. With all that said, this link is how you get there for your free membership if you're a member of Arizona Regional MLS as a subscriber. Next slide. Wanted to give you just a quick taste of what you would see. This is only on the industry tab. There's a tab for agents. There's a tab for brokers. There's a tab for technology. There's a tab for the MLS and industry. This is just what the headlines are for industry this morning. And this is a kind of information that's out there. And one of them on this third one down on the left, NAR settlement could force innovation and other reactions. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have many things pivot and change, including the buyer broker process, including commissions being pulled out of our MLS. The MLS will no longer be where you see your compensation. That's going to have to be negotiated up front. So all this type of information is in here, and stay close to your brokers. Brokers, stay close to people like Scott Drucker and others who are leading the charge for all our benefit for the whole state moving forward. Sarah, next. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a quick overview of what the belief was for how we used to do a listing agreement and compensation. A listing agreement with the seller would be with the listing broker. And that'd be an uptick, and the listing broker would put the information into the MLS. MLS is where you would see your compensation offer. The buyer broker would see that information, bring it down to the buyer himself, him or herself. And the aspect is they may or may not have a buyer agreement. Next slide. This is a way of looking at compensation to consumer, C2C. And what that's looking at is, again, we have a seller and there's a listing agreement to the listing broker, but the listing broker, that dotted line going from the listing broker into the MLS, can no longer put that information in there, which means it can't come out to the buyer broker and it doesn't get concessions to the buyer. It takes a different view, a different path. The path goes from the seller, and the listing broker may talk about seller concessions and terms. And we may have to look at modifying the purchase contract, modifying that we absolutely have a buyer broker agreement in place with a specific client before we go out and see a home. That's going to be a change or a pivot in our market and how we do business. It's going to be a general guide from listing agents to clients, and it's going to be a general guide from buyer agents to buyers themselves. Please know, nationally, locally, the team is fierce looking at, do we need to modify the purchase agreement? If this purchase agreement gets modified and approved, they may not wait till October. They may bring that out as soon as it's done. We can go from the purchase agreement over to the buyer and talk about concessions that maybe the seller still pays for the services of the buyer broker, but it wouldn't go through the MLS. And so this quick graph is the best I've seen about how the flow of communication and the responsibility is in our market moving forward. Next slide, Sarah. Looking at our overall numbers. Let's see here. I'm going to move one thing. All right, Sarah. Total actives in our local MLS, north of 16,000. Total actives, Maricopa County, again, up just a couple hundred to 12,743. Single family up about 150. What I'd like you to see, ladies and gentlemen, is coming soon did go up over 100 doors from last month. That's a tactic and a purposefulness. Pending is up just 75, 80 doors from last month. But our solds, total solds, was up 1,000 doors, and total solds in Maricopa County was up, 70% of that, about 700. And single family was dominant in that it was about 500 doors. So our business is certainly up from where it was closing the end of February for the beginning of March. And our pendings are looking like we're going to have a very strong close of business in April as well. Next slide. Again, simple math, ladies and gentlemen. When we were at a low inventory, 4,000 doors with 153 zip codes, we were averaging 26 doors on the low end. Right now, with 1240, 460, and 153 zip codes, we're just at 81 and a half doors per zip code. So just means we have more selection than we've had in a long time, more negotiation, but we have this ambiguity about compensation and things like that. I do know that all of our agents, buyer agents, listing agents, are working harder than ever. Relationships have never been more important. Communication has never been more important. And thank you all out there for working hard together to get people in and out of their next home. Bravo to everybody. Sarah? Taking a look at active solds and under contract. What I want you to visually take a look at is the path on the bottom left and the red and blue dotted lines, the median and average sell price. They're staying essentially in concert, but there was a slight dip from 98.5 down just about a half point both across the way. And if you look on the bottom right graph in the red and blue line, please know that our average sale price is up just slightly, $3 to $4 a square foot from where it was the previous month. It's been a real steady market in spite of all the commentary about NAR settlement, et cetera. One of the biggest questions that comes to me by, I think, some experienced agents, and they say, well, does that mean home prices are going to be going down 3% across the board? Because on average, sellers are not going to have to pay a compensation to the buyer agent. And I think the numbers reflect that, hey, how the buyer agent and buyer broker is compensated is going to change how the money flows with seller contribution, et cetera. That's going to change, but that doesn't mean it's going to go away. And it doesn't mean that home prices all of a sudden are worth 2-3% less than they were last month. And the numbers are reflecting that. Next slide. When we're looking at supply and demand, we were down to just 2.4 months of supply with absorption rate of 41.48%. And it just means that our market is still very, very brisk. Very brisk, not even 3 months of inventory. Sarah? Okay, so let's look at Maricopa County and Pinal County combined. And this is one of the few times in these numbers I like to just give perspective. Looking hard at the blue and the yellow dots for me are the two that I watch the closest. Active listings are up 20% overall in those two counties combined, and the median sale price is up 4%. And when you look hard at that median price at $259.63, that is the blend of all of Maricopa County and Pinal County combined. Now, I'm a firm believer that we have lots of micro markets. Let's be extreme and let's take, say, Sun City and compare that to Glendale. Let's take Avondale and compare that to Phoenix. They're two different markets. Same thing holds true with Casa Grande and Maricopa. They're just different markets. So I like to get as close as I can in our numbers. So next slide for us, please, Sarah. We have this broken down into Maricopa County and Pinal County separately. So instead of $259 a square foot average, looking at Maricopa County, in yellow, it averages $270 per square foot on average. It's up 5%, not 4%. And our listings are up 21% from where they were this time a year ago. Pinal County, slightly different. It's up 3.8%, but its average median sale price is $205. And we're now at essentially $65 difference just in the two counties in average cost per square foot. Ladies and gentlemen, that is significant. And so we always want to help you guide at as close to the street level as we can. Next slide, Sarah. As we drill deeper, new listings for, this is Maricopa County only, please, 7660. That's up 8% in the last month. Ladies and gentlemen, 7660 new listings. It's just shy of 100% of what it was 90 days ago. Everybody out there has been working hard, working smart, and it's showing up in the numbers. Our new listings are up 3%, 18% from 3 months ago, and our under contract is up 7% in the last 30 days, but it's up 74% in the last 90 days. Bravo to you all. New builds are at 10%. Flips are back on the map at 5.7, even though interest rates are a little bit high comparatively to a year and a half, 2 years ago. Sarah, next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a couple new slides coming in on every city as we move forward. And so I'm going to take some time here and explain this a little bit deeper. This is for all of Maricopa County only. New listings. And this is going to look at the trend of, in green is a vertical bar, and it's showing the number of new listings, and it's essentially right at just under 8,000 for the month. The average sale price in black and median in blue, median in red, I'm sorry. And it's just looking at a visual graph of how that's been going. Then it's going to take another swipe at the data. That top graph is just the new listings. The bottom graph is the overall active listings. And the green graph, you're seeing our inventory is steadily climbed. So if you're working with a buyer, you're working with a seller, you're seeing the climb in our inventory. And you're seeing where in red, the median sell price is per square foot and the average price per square foot is essentially north of 340. And that's a brisk market for us overall. Next slide, please. Under contract. This is the same Maricopa County, but just a couple new slides for everybody. Under contract, if you're looking at the vertical bars in green, you're looking at a steady climb since December, then January, February, and March of 2024. We've gone from essentially 4,500 to north of 6,000 doors under contract in the vertical bar in green under contract. And then it's also showing the average price per square foot and the median price per square foot. Finally, in the lower graph, if you just same theory, the green bars is a total sold listings, and then the average price per square foot, median price per square foot. And so if you're looking at this hard graph and you're saying, well, what's the trend of our market? Just simple common knowledge goes like this. 30 days ago, our average sold price per square foot was probably 295-ish. And right now, our under contract average cost per square foot is north of 320. Ladies and gentlemen, our market is on the move. It really is. Next slide, Sarah. Finally, want to just give just a little bit of texture. And this one you have to just spend some time with to understand what's happening. But what you're looking at is ranges of dollar per square foot, a 0 to 100K, 100 to 200, 2 to 3 across the horizontal axis. And then you're going to look at the last 4 months, December, January, February into 2024. And MOS is month of supply of that individual product. And then STL stands for sale to list price. And so from a 0 to 100, there's 4.5 months of inventory. A lot of times that's land. Sale to list price is at 92.8%. And ladies and gentlemen, that's down slightly since February, just a slight decrease. But as you come across the rest of these, you get to $500,000 to $700,000, and there was a 0.1% decrease in the sale to list price on average. That it went from 98.5 is down from 98.6 in the month of February. Sell to list price in 700 to million is up 0.1%. But 1 to 3 million is down 0.3%. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're just seeing a slight trend of how our market is working. Next slide, Sarah. Okay, good information here. I like these slides. They're primitive in nature, but they tell a very beautiful master story. So our active listings in Maricopa County is near a peak at 12,448. That's the far right-hand side of the blue line for the month of April. That's where we were on April 1st. Active listings down slightly, but holding north of 12,000. Next slide. Under contract on the climb. And on the far right, 7,094 for the month of April. And ladies and gentlemen, that is fairly close in theory to where we were April in 2023 and April of 2022. We're both in the 7,000 range. If interest rates were slightly different, I think our market would explode. Next slide. Close. Title companies, buyer agents, listing agents. We creeped back up over 5,074 doors for the month of March. This is for Maricopa County only. Next slide. New listings still on the climb, 9127, far right-hand side of the graph for the month of March. Ladies and gentlemen, people are putting confidence into our market, into our agents, and they're being very purposeful. Bravo to everybody. Next slide. And I wanted to highlight one thing. There was a slight trigger on canceled residential listings. We've seen a pretty steady climb up and down for all different reasons. However, and going from February to March, we added an additional 500 doors that canceled. That run rate is higher than it's been. That's a 50% increase in the canceled listings for the month of March. Please know we'll continue to watch this. Is that a one-off, and or is this a trend, or is this going to climb? That would send a different signal to our market. Canceled listings. Next slide. Okay, here we go in Apache Junction, and we're going to go slow through this first one, please. So again, active listings at 52.5%. Apache Junction has a lot of new construction coming into play, and listings are up in that market. A lot of construction, a lot of infrastructure coming. There's a lot of new businesses and industry coming in and around the Mesa Gateway Airport. Median home prices are down 3.2%, with an average cost per square foot at $239.26. But it's a very brisk market. Next slide is going to be numbers. Go ahead, Sarah. That reflect that. So our new listings are up 19% at 166. Active listings are up 7% at 270. Under contract, not quite as high at 8.81%, but that's up almost 70% from where it was 3 months ago. Sold listings are up 48% at 111. And then the circular graph showing normal sales at 84%, new builds just under 10%, and flip a purposeful 5%. What I'd like to point out here is this. When you look at the new part 2 of this same page graph, new listings price per square foot, you see the median and average sale price trending down from January. And that's a combination of what's coming to market. Are people bringing their original homes to market, knowing that there might be somebody out there buying it to fix and flip it? Or there are people maybe scraping or just building a new subdivision. But the average new listing per square foot is trending down. And when you look at the green vertical bar, new listings, it's at an all-time high for Apache Junction at 270. Please know that. Next slide. In addition to that city, what these 2 new graphs, and this is going to be for every city, I think, of our 25 target areas, under contract. Please look hard, just look into the green vertical bars on the top. These are the under contract listings. It is, again, 121, I think it was. And that market is pretty consistent. Average cost per square foot, they actually converged right at 255 a square foot, 258 a square foot. That is what's under contract. What's also that is going to be looking to close 30 days, 45 days from now. Excuse me, sold listings. Again, look at the number of solds in the green bar, high at 121. That's an all-time high in the last 2 years for Apache Junction. Again, the red and the black bar have converged average sale price and median sale price right at the 235, 238 range. They're almost convergent. And these are just great graphs to see what's selling. And when you stop and think, hey, is my home on the higher end of that, on the lower end of that? It's great conversation, great strategy. If you're a buyer agent, it's great strategy, great conversation with your seller if you're a listing agent. So that is going to be our consistent play moving forward. And now, Sarah, if we go to the next slide, we have the city of Avondale. Avondale's listings are up 31%. The median price is up 0.9. How do you back those numbers up? Next slide. Avondale, by comparison, has in the circular graph in the middle, 27% of their home sales are new builds, and just 4.1, not 5%, are fix and flip. Their new listings at 124 is up 37%. Their actives are up 12% at 189. They're under contract, modest, up 8% at 132. And their solds are up almost 20% at 75. Now, again, we're going to see this new listing coming in. New listings are coming in right at 230 a square foot, but it's a pretty strong number. It's north of 125 new doors that have come into place for the city of Avondale. Next slide, Sarah. Just some advanced data. What's happening with the under contract? Under contract's at an all-time high. Looking at just at 120 doors, give or take, and the convergence of the average and median sale price right around 230. And the sale to list is just north of 220, knowing that what closed last month appears to be more expensive closing for the month of April and May. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue on, next slide, Sarah. We're looking at the city of Buckeye. And again, there's going to be three more slides two more slides to validate Buckeye. The next slide here is going to show the traditional, go ahead, Sarah. The traditional numbers that make up the five circular infographic form. Buckeye has a high percent at 31% of their homes are new builds. Flip is just 3.8%. And now under each city that we highlight for you, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have at the bottom of this graph, the new listing sale price. Next slide. And then we'll also have new listing sale price active. And then finally, last slide. Carefree. My apology. Let's go through this one. Let's go Carefree. Active listing 16%. It's up 1.9% at 392. Next slide, Sarah. This is how the flow should be. We had 21 new listings in that city, and under contract 25. Everything was a normal sale. What we're looking at here, new listings are coming in just under $450 and $500 a square foot. Next slide. Here we go. So now this is a better one to do anyway. So under contract, our doors are the second highest we've ever had in that city. But look at the average price per square foot sold, how that jumped hard in the black line between February and March. It went from, let's just call it 410, closer to 440 on the average, and the median price still above 400. Then we look at solds. You're seeing how there was a convergence for the month of March right at $400 a door. But when you look at this particular graph, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see that the under contract that's happening today is going to show up higher for the month of April solds in this very same city. Now the next slide. All right. And so the rest of this slide deck will take us through Cave Creek. And Sarah, you can continue dancing through these. We just wanted to give you more and more information for your listing agents, more and more information from your buyer agents, so they can quickly see trends, see how to best communicate to your buyers and sellers, setting better expectations, having a better experience. When you look at this, this is from Rapid Stats from Arizona Regional MLS. I know they're continuing to update this product and make it more and more affordable. Look for some changes coming at the renewal time in July. There's a lot of things happening, ladies and gentlemen. Stay abreast of real estate news. Stay tight with your brokers. Anytime you can see leadership like a Scott Drucker speak. I've seen people speak from the national stage, the regional stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Drucker, the CEO of the Arizona Regional MLS, is one of the best conveyors of knowledge in simplistic terms, and he delivers the message with no load. The people who are working on our forms, the people who work on our contract, they're working day and night to create a new solution to make a better experience for everybody inside the rules that NAR and the DOJ are going to be implementing. There's great communication happening between our local MLS leadership and our association leadership, and just hopefully you're getting a lot of good information from your local broker on how to best do things. Whenever you had a chance to work with Landmark Title, do that. They're absolutely pros, great service, great communication. And this is a service that they like to offer just to make a difference. So make a purposeful impact in your market today. I'm going to leave you with this last quote. It's from a poet, Marianne Moore, and it goes like this. I made it a principle not to be over-influenced by minor disappointments. I made it a principle in my life not to be over-influenced by minor disappointments. Ladies and gentlemen, our industry is changing. There might cause some disappointment for you. It's going to be a pivot and change, and welcome that. Be a gentle guide for your clients, and we're all going to get through this together. Sarah, always a pleasure. Make a purposeful impact.
Thank you for watching. Come join us every month on Marketing Insights and let us help you stay on top of the real estate market.